When I was in 3rd grade, I would make bookmarks, make like paper frames around my drawings, and then sell them to people. And I was always mowing the lawn, you know, like everyone, all the kids have to do like chores. I was like, Dad, it takes way too long to mow the grass. We should get sheep. And I raised sheep and goats for maybe 8 years. Then we would sell the babies as they came through. These animals in Florida, and then I'd bring them back to Indiana and sell them to, you know, different people, stores and stuff.
There's all this hustle. Like,
I saw all these opportunities in the bicycle industry that I'd always been entertained by.
Yeah.
It was theft-proof and portable.
Now, did you succeed? Did you fail?
So yeah, I've always been trying to like create things that are portable because I just thought that was like a problem with like ownership.
A bike.
Like how the bike folded. Like it was like folded kind of like a clock or like a Swiss Army knife, you know, like it folded like around the center hub at a restaurant.
Which I think is, if you are in business and you've never worked at a restaurant, I think something's wrong.
Learning how to work with people, balancing demands, you know, like having lots of like different requests at one time. I came here to start a web company with one of my friends. Horribly, you know, like just like all of the things that were too immature, you know, like we didn't have enough structure, sleeping in too late, too much like partying, like we just moved to New York.
Did you get clients? Did you actually?
No, so we never launched. Or we can go to the rooftop.
Yeah.
Let's go to my old building here. Then I got jobs at like architecture studios.
Doing what?
Doing model building, freelance gigs. So like I was working at I don't know, like 5 different architecture firms. I was good with like putting a ruler on paper and then moving the X-Acto knife. And I was probably one of the best at it, I guess. I decided to like work together and to start like a furniture company. So there's all these like eco-friendly design principles that the furniture system's designed around. So starting with those would be, you know, is it durable? Can the materials be separated at the end of their life cycle? User experience principles, so we want it to be like tool-free assembly and really easy to assemble. We want it to be modular. And it had to have some, you know, had to be manufacturable. We assemble our furniture right before the show, and we had like this great show. And then we like met Starbucks. Cool. We got some interest from Starbucks for it. But it's like really expensive to make. So we just felt like it wasn't like quite the right solution. We create this plush chair for them, and then Starbucks ends up closing like 600 stores, and we lose our contact, and the project is ended. Italian guys that are opening up an eco hair salon in Soho. Up winning an award for the space, and then we started to get more. We got other clients.
Exactly.
So we did, you know, like what we were doing is we're doing custom everything for these spaces, and then either building them out or helping build them out.
And what'd you do for Jay-Z? Can you say?
Yeah. Like so, he was launching this book. I had to like figure out how to like cover the wheel of a bicycle, and then put a page on that so people could like ride it around. The Snugget clip. Let's rebrand it as Modos.
There you go. Good move. I think Modos is a lot better than Snugget. Now, how many years ago did you kickstart?
December of 2016. Make as many efficiencies as possible. I don't know how big this is going to be. Like, I don't know if I can afford a container's worth of connectors.
Yeah.
So I'm going to see if I can manufacture this thing in the United States. The manufacturer I chose, they had problems, and they kept failing.
Of course.
They kept failing.
The whole point of doing a Kickstarter is you're not supposed to be prepared.
Manufacturer failed, and I was having trouble getting my money back. Was like, all right, well, that's it, you know?
Yeah.
So I had to get a different job while I waited for all of this mess to clear. You know? Finally, fulfill the Kickstarter and the website and the products out there. People are using it, testing it, and it's actually been well received ever since. And so
there you go.
Glow.
Yeah.
Like, there's like so many hats to wear.
Exactly.
It takes so much time, and like.
Here I am explaining the Modos, which is Matt's product. So it's this connector here, and this is a 3/4 inch
panel, yeah.
So you'll like take a panel, you put it on, right? And then you see it's on, and then like oh yeah, it's super solid. This is like a Lego piece, you know, fundamental building block. These are adult Legos.
Yeah. London Financial Times says Legos for the design savvy adult. How do we put objects on things to defy gravity at a particular height? So like with this system, we can make pretty much anything at any particular height.
Yeah.
So we typically just make desks and space dividers and shelves.
They
Right?
think they can rip it off, but fundamentally, all they would be doing is copying you, because they can't copy you.
Why?
Because you have all this experience, you have all the design knowledge, know what needs to be done. You know, you are so much deeper into this than anybody who would copy. Like,
Right.
you have a different mission.
Right.
Fundamentally, a copycat just wants to make a quick buck.
What we're doing is we're trying to create an instantaneous, a system for creating custom furniture, like high quality custom furniture at a reasonable price. The system is designed to be taken apart and moved and reconfigured every time you move.
Yeah.
So you don't have to keep buying furniture over and over. You don't have to create the waste. You don't have to waste the time or the money. So like the system pays itself back.
Well, more than that, you can reconfigure, to me.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So bookshelves, yeah, TV stands.
The TV stand has a lot of weight. It's just the active movement is what you don't want.
Yeah, it's the weight. The weight has no problem. Like we could climb on the shelf.
Cool. He's like actually on it. Hey, say hi.
Oh, hi.
Yeah.
As it is,
Wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it, but you could do it.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with biomimetics? So like mimicking biology.
Like a beehive has hex.
Exactly, right? So these hexagons are one of the strongest shapes in nature. So
And chemical, organic chemistry, like, you know, is hexes.
yeah. So as you put this panel in, it forces this part to pivot a little bit. It makes this area more narrow. Work really well with like certain space constraints, either overall lengths and heights and widths, or just like individual cells needing to be a certain size to hold a certain object or number of objects. So we're minimizing the waste and maximizing the production capabilities. I like to think about the system being really honest. You know, it's like, it's exactly what you see. There's no like, we're not putting lipstick on anything. It's panels and connectors. And it's really based on your or my creativity and like what we can make.
Exactly. So how do you think you have grown, Matt, as an entrepreneur? In what ways?
I think I have a much better sense of reality. What it takes to make something, to market something, to sell something, to fulfill something, how to grow that, raising money, you know, managing other people's expectations, your own expectations, your family's, customers, manufacturers. The reality of what it takes to be an entrepreneur in this day and age. You know, it's not as simplified as like you might think it is. The biggest thing is giving yourself the time to really focus on the most important problems to progress you forward. So, and that's what I try to do every day.
Welcome to Startup Hunter. I am here with Matt Tyson of Modos Modular Furniture. And I forgot the tagline, but I think that's okay.
That's cool. You nailed it. It's Modos Furniture. It's modular, and we make modular furniture that you can assemble without tools.
Check it out. This thingy right here, you put like 3/4 inch objects, wood panels. How's my English? Really bad. And you can make infinite combinations of furniture. I just saw you had a laptop stand. I would assume there's so many combinations. I saw a laptop stand, and like with this, what I really like about this is just how simple it is. So before we even get into this, Matt, we're going to put this away for now. So the first thing I ask everybody is a two-parter question. Where were you born, Matt, and what did your parents do?
Okay, so I was born in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and my mom was a teacher, and my dad owned a chain of pet stores, and he did pretty much done it all. Like whatever he's interested in, he kind of just jumps into it. So
pet stores now. Are we talking Petco? Are we talking an independent chain?
Yeah, an independent.
Even more interesting to me
chain.
is, did he start the chain?
Yeah, he started the chain.
So that's entrepreneurial.
Yeah, my dad was entrepreneurial. I had grandfathers are like entrepreneurial.
What did he do?
Like I guess like the one I think is the coolest that I didn't realize until I told my dad, hey, I want to create this product for. I want to create a better bicycle seat.
But what did your grandpa do?
This is what I'm telling you. I'm getting into it. And he's like, oh, that's so interesting. You know, your grandfather invented the first foam bicycle seat and sold it to Schwinn.
Yeah.
And he also invented saddlebags for bicycles. You know, like the bags that go on the side of like the tire.
You didn't even know that.
I didn't know, yeah. But I was like so interested in bicycles. Had already like my senior thesis was about bicycles. I had a friend and I were trying to make like a product for theft-proof bicycles, and so I just had like I saw all these opportunities in the bicycle industry that I'd always been entertained by.
Yeah. So very interesting. But I know you got your senior thesis, but let's go a little bit chronologically. And what I want to know is, what's the first hustle that you can remember? Whether it's, selling candy at school, or, like the earliest memory of you trying to sell something or hawk something, or,
I think like the first thing that like popped in my head was when I was in third grade. I would make bookmarks and draw and like make like paper frames around my drawings and then sell them to people.
So are we talking, are we talking, like, I'm having trouble visualizing it. Like,
so mostly like I would just make these bookmarks and I would like draw something on them.
Yeah. In third grade?
In third grade, yeah. So I was like selling things for like 10 cents.
Yeah. And
25 cents.
So there was demand for your product.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, like, I who knows? I maybe totaled out like $5.
I know, but still, like that if the world ended, right then, you would have been a very successful entrepreneur.
For maybe for like compared to the other kids in my class.
Exactly. So but I think it's interesting, that we're maybe taught, as babies, like, you do X and then you get money for X.
Right.
Like, imagine if we lived in some society where money didn't exist. You probably wouldn't have said, like, this little bookmark costs 10 cents. Like, you would have just given it to them and they would have given you an apple, or,
Wow, that would be a great deal.
Better than 10 cents.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the apple, of course, but yeah, I guess so. I mean, I think it's. I mean, we've lived in. I mean, the world's existed before like paper and metal money existed, and then like the share economy or the trade economy is very interesting. For me, it's like I don't know why I was interested in money at that point.
It's more than money, though. It's creating a product, and then it's executing that product, and then it's selling it and taking those profits, reinvesting them. Did you? I don't know.
I mean, I don't know if I had to reinvest because I was like getting free product from the schools I was attending.
See, that's even smarter. That's an even more efficient business, model.
I think you're throwing more flowers than necessary, but
no, I think it's.
But yeah, I had free resources.
Yeah, I that's like a formative story right there, and it lets me know that you have some innate, maybe, ability to, just this innate entrepreneurial ability, like.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, I never like considered that being like much of an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But I suppose I could see your perspective. So, thanks.
So okay, third grade. Can you remember something? Later down the line. A little bit older. where you're doing something entrepreneurial?
A little older.
Maybe 6 years old, 7 years old.
Sixth grade or something. Yeah.
12 years old, 15.
Well, I guess, let's see, I'm 9 years old in third grade, probably.
Yeah.
So I think like the next thing I started was, my family moved to like a house in Indiana that had more property. And I was on a baseball team with my buddy, and he had sheep. And and I was always mowing the lawn, like all the kids have to do like chores, and you get like some sort of like horrible allowance. And I was like, Dad, it takes way too long to mow the grass.
Uh-huh.
We should get sheep.
Oh, sheep?
Yeah.
To cut the grass?
Yeah. So he's like, yeah, we should definitely get some sheep. So, and then I thought I could like take them to the 4-H fair and like show them and sell them.
Right.
Which I never did. But I did try to train them for a little while. But
so you still convinced your dad to get the sheep?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So my dad and I like fenced out, an acre on our property, and we built a barn, and we got sheep and goats, and I raised sheep and goats for maybe 8 years. Then we would sell the babies as they came through to.
Yeah, so that right there is one of my favorite hustles.
Sheep hustles?
Exactly.
Yeah, sheep hustle is one of the greatest hustles around.
See, I was born in New York City.
Uh-huh.
So by default, we don't have backyards or garages here. Like, which is why places like where we were just in, the new lab, exist, because space is at a premium here. But people need space to like build things, or people need
definitely
a garage to tinker in. But going back, I sort of think before the Industrial Revolution started in, whatever, the 1890s or wherever you want to put that, most people in America were farmers, or a lot of people, a lot more people in America were farmers. And it was easier to be an entrepreneurial farmer back then than it is today in the, in the realm of factory farming and Monsanto owning the DNA of a piece of corn, so that if one of their Monsanto kernels lands on your farm and infects your farm, like they technically own your farm. I mean, it's just like, but back then it was possible.
Right.
So I think it's amazing that you really tap. I'm just like romanticizing really about American farming.
Yeah, I think my on my mom's side, they were all farmers. On my dad's side, there were a lot of like engineers and inventor types.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've always just kind of like grew up with like, as my youth entrepreneur, I was like selling animals,
Yeah.
Or like my favorite part was when we'd drive to Florida, like 4 or 5 people in a car for 13 hours on spring break. So like when I was a kid, like in like 6th grade, my dad taught me how to like catch lizards, or anoles, technically.
And is it a reptile? Yeah,
it's a reptile that it's like that changes color, and like you see them everywhere.
It's got to be a brewery.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah.
Smell it. This is a great brewery. So yeah, I'd catch these animals in Florida, and then I'd bring them back to Indiana and sell them to different people, stores and stuff.
There's all this hustle. Like, this is more hustle than a lot of the people on this show. So what I'm seeing here, like even more hustle than me. Like, and I've never been interviewed about this topic, but
please tell me. So what's your side of the hustle?
We need a whole other show for me.
That's a great idea.
And well, my first.
Here we go.
There's some sheep. There we go. What I'm really seeing, and maybe you just thought of this as fun, right? But I'm just seeing already like 4 examples of you being entrepreneurial. So You know, you sell your lizards, you're selling goats and sheep, or
rabbits and hamsters and all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
right. So you've got like a Tyson's Bazaar and Emporium of weird and exotic animals.
Yeah, exactly. We should rebrand. Should open it back up.
Tell me about this project.
Yeah, so ultimately I was trying to create a bicycle that was theft-proof
What are we doing?
and is portable. I don't know, I just thought it was an interesting space.
Oh yeah.
But we could get out of here. So ultimately I was trying to create a bicycle that was theft-proof and portable.
Now, did you succeed? Did you fail?
So yeah, I've always been trying to like create things that are portable because I just thought that was like a problem with like ownership of large things. So it was a passing grade, I guess to say,
what was the innovation that you did on the bike?
Like how the bike folded, like it was like folded kind of like a clock or like a Swiss Army knife, like it folded like around the center hub.
Right. Now, back then, there probably wasn't folding bikes on the market, or...
Oh, there was, but like none of them were folding like that. And the idea was we also had like this clamshell that allow it to like hide up all the wheels and fold down the stem. It was hubless, like a hubless crankshaft, so you could actually like see through the hub. Had like wheels inspired by the Tweel, so it was like an airless tire for bicycles.
Yeah.
What else? I haven't thought about this thing forever. That's like a good start.
Yeah, that's already like, I can just imagine the amount of work that went into this. And what I think a lot of young people do, it's maybe more about validating for themselves that they can actually just, like, they have this vision in their mind, whatever it is. In your case, it was this folding bike.
Right.
And just validating that, yeah, I could do that. And then you do it, and then you're done. You probably had no intention of it being, a money-making thing.
Yeah, not at all. It was really about like how many problems can I identify, and like how many of them can I solve this one time.
Yes, you made like the ultimate folding bike.
Well, I made a folding bike.
Yeah.
I don't know how great it was, but I think it. I think it could have inspired other people that have since developed other bikes. So
you didn't go you didn't go drop out of school, commercialize that bike,
no,
and make it rich.
Right.
So what's sort of next? Did you go get a job at school right out of school?
Well, I mean, I had a job during school.
What were you doing?
I was a server. I worked at a restaurant.
Which I think is, if you are in business and you've never worked at a restaurant, I think something's wrong. I've done it. I think you've got to do it.
Yeah, you have to it feels like it's it's one of the smallest steps towards learning how to work with people, balancing demands, having lots of different requests at one time.
Exactly, you just
handling money.
So I was back of the house. I was in the cook.
Oh, okay.
Cook. But if you've never worked that job, I've never been a server. No, I did work another restaurant job where I was both. Yeah, I guess I was a server. And like you're saying, it's actually more complicated than you think it is.
Yeah. It's just it's a great learning point to be able to try to multitask. I don't really love the idea of multitasking, but I am capable to walk and kind of have a conversation with you at the same time. So I guess accomplishing that.
Now, do you think you were cut out for restaurant work, or do you think Did it eventually get to the point where you're like, I can't deal with these people. They're all being jerks, and I hate it, and I don't ever want to do this again.
I liked people, and I like food. I don't, it doesn't really like, they don't like, I don't really take it home, you know? If like someone's a jerk to me, it's just like, I get that they have their own life that they're dealing with, so.
You didn't take it too personally.
Yeah, I really don't take it too personally. And like, some people are really passionate about like, you know, having enough ice in their Coke, you know? So like, I'm glad that they care about that so much. I don't, but.
I even though I do have a temper or whatever it is, it's like when I was a server, like I was always just sort of like you. It didn't bother me, like all these weird requests, like do it faster, or I just thought it was fun. It was like,
yeah, it was totally fun. Like, you know, it also had a skill that like all right, like everyone eats in the world, so you know, most places you can go somewhere and like, all right, well, I have at least this skill to help me sustain my life, you know, like, so I took that skill to New York then. Yeah. And I got a really great like serving job here at a really nice restaurant.
So that's how you broke in, like even though you had a college degree, you started as a server here in New York.
Well, yeah, I came here to start a web company with one of my friends.
Interesting.
And we had no clue what we're doing, and like we raised like $10,000.
Give me a year.
So 2006.
Okay, so right before the financial crisis.
Yeah.
So things are reasonably good in the economy, and I think I can see it. Like the dot-com boom had already happened and crashed, and you know things are really in 2006. Things are, you know, on the rise. So I could see that. Mm-hmm. So you came here to start a web. Well, like, why not just start a web company in Indiana? Why come to New York and start?
All right, so I was in school in Savannah, Georgia.
It's SCAD.
Yeah, that's SCAD. And then after graduating, we were like, all right, well, I was kind of interested in like learning about the tech world.
Yeah.
And I had one friend that was already kind of in the space, and like plus another friend that was like semi-entrepreneurial as well. So we're like, all right, let's move to New York. Let's like make this thing happen.
Okay, so here you're like, I'm gonna be the next Mark Cuban, and the next Mark Andreessen from Netscape. How did this go? Tell me about it.
It went horribly, you know, like just like all of the things that were too immature, you know, like we didn't have enough structure, sleeping in too late, too much like partying, like we just moved to New York.
Did you get clients? Did you actually?
No, so we never launched. We raised like
you just like took money.
We raised like $10,000 from like family.
And you just partied?
No, we didn't use it at all. Like so, like we kept that money for that project, and so we never like we were creating like wireframes and like working out like what the business is and like checking out competitors. But we just didn't have a programmer.
Yeah.
So we, I had studied like interaction design, and my friend was the other friend I was helping me I was working with was a graphic designer, and so like we just didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know how to do anything. So like all we knew was like, oh my gosh, New York City is so cool and fun. Yeah. And so we had jobs beyond trying to do the startup.
You were a server.
No, I wasn't a server. So I had got that serving job, and I was like, I didn't move all the way to New York City to be a server.
Oh yeah.
Whatever.
Is there a good waterfront view? Is this way?
Yeah, sure. We can try to find something.
Because I know there's.
Or we can go to the rooftop.
Yeah.
Let's go to my old building here.
Yeah,
take
man.
a car left this way.
Now we're talking. Now we are talking. That's my bike. Locked to the.
Here?
Yeah, that's my.
Great.
That was my dad's bike.
So I got this great job. I was like, all right, I'm gonna be set.
Yeah. What job did you get?
It was like a serving job at Dos Caminos. It's like this high-end Mexican restaurant that has like all the tequila. So I quit. I didn't take the job, and then I got jobs at like architecture studios.
Doing what?
Doing model building.
So that's like pretty significant because this is really your first kind of corporate job, I would assume. Matt has just brought me up here to the rooftop,
This is
and you're seeing the entire skyline view of New York. It would be even better if I did 2x, but I'm not going to do that because it's not easy and I have to fiddle with buttons. But
what's 2x?
2x. I don't even. I think. Oh wait. I could zoom. Watch.
We could just spin it.
Watch. Ooh.
Oh.
See.
Oh, hats are going.
You can see the buildings better when it's more zoomed in.
Oh, gotcha.
Anyway. So your first architecture, there's job building models in an architecture firm, to me is a big leap, because you're going, from a server, which is sort of being a server, right? And it is a career, but it's not the career you ended up in.
Right.
And what this is really, to me, your first kind of stepping stone on the way to where you are now. Mm-hmm. So you're building models at an architecture firm. How long do you do that for?
6 months? Year?
Okay. So what?
It was like a freelance gig. So like I was working at like 5 different architecture firms.
Oh, so you became
coming and going.
You became to have 5 firms at your disposal. That's sort of you could have just been at one firm, right? But for some reason you hustled your way into 5 firms.
Yeah, some reason. I don't know how that worked out, but I think like I was good with like putting a ruler on paper and then moving the X-Acto knife, and I was probably one of the best at it. I guess. I don't know.
I think there's an oversimplification. You're making models. There's sophistication. You have, in order to take a model from a sketch into a physical manifestation, I'm sure there's some skill involved.
Yeah. It was
more than just cutting knives well.
Yeah, it was a little different then, because like everything's 3D printed or like laser cut.
These days.
Yeah, these days.
But back then it wasn't.
Back then, it wasn't. It was, we would take the prints at whatever scale and like they'd laminate them onto like cardstock.
Yeah.
And then we would cut them up into pieces.
I want to get away from the.
Okay.
So you're making models, and you said that only lasted a year.
Yeah, I guess I'd have to like look at the history.
So, but like what I'm getting at is what did you did you stop model making cold?
Like what was next?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's like kind of I guess the next thing is I answer a Craigslist post.
For what?
Let's go this way. So I answered a Craigslist post for someone that wants to own their own design studio and likes working with their hands and prefers to make something rather than watch TV. I don't know. I can't remember the post, but I could find it.
So this sounds like it is Craigslist, so it could be a scam.
Yeah, totally.
But was it?
It hasn't turned out to be.
Woo! Oh, but who put this ad up?
So this post is my one of the owners of my company put this post out, and I answered it, and he ended up I guess hiring me on a temporary basis as a test run.
Yeah.
And then we decided to go into business together.
Interesting. Now what were you guys doing? So this guy, what's his name?
His name's Andrew. So Andrew puts this post out. I reply. We decide to work together.
No. Did he have existing clients?
No. So he's like we're both starting from scratch.
Okay.
And so he had another person that. So he had another architect that he was working with. And we decided to like work together and to start like a furniture company. Uh-huh. So we create this scope where we wanted the furniture to be eco-friendly. we wanted to, so there's all these like eco-friendly design principles that the furniture system is designed around. So starting with those would be, is it durable? Can the materials be separated at the end of their life cycle?
Now, is this Modos or?
So this isn't Modos. So we create this scope and all these eco principles and user experience principles. So we want it to be like tool-free assembly and really easy to assemble. We want it to be modular and it had to have some, had to be manufacturable. So we create these like zero tolerance tapered aluminum dovetails to join panels together to make
That's Modos.
No.
Oh.
But so Modos doesn't have like the dovetail, and these parts were like a lot more expensive to make and etc. And so we're trying to like do like localized manufacturing and all these like complicated things. So we had this scope, and we created something. Yeah.
Get on my right side.
Oh, sorry. We created something. And it was cool. We got some interest from Starbucks for it, but it's like really expensive to make. So we just felt like it wasn't like quite the right solution.
But here's the thing: if a company like Starbucks comes to you, like, why not do whatever it takes to keep them as a customer?
Yeah. So we created another chair for them because they wanted to They loved like the eco principles. They loved like how easy it is for the things to be assembled, but they wanted it to be a plush chair.
Yeah.
So we create this plush chair for them, and then Starbucks starts closing stores like a rapid fire. It's like Domino's. So Starbucks then ends up closing like 600 stores, and we lose our contact, and the project is ended.
Interesting. So they were doing some financial restructuring. In order to save the company,
right?
And it turned out to be a good move because, and what I'm not trying to say is like, yes, you lost the business,
right?
And that's why you lost the business. But Starbucks is still a very strong company today, and precisely because they took those draconian measures, back then.
Yeah, absolutely. Their business is their business, right? So it had an impact on our business, of course, but. So be it. So we kept going.
Yeah.
So that product never took off. We're like, all right, well, we got to make money somehow. That was our best lead.
Right. And it almost materialized. It was like
almost,
at the tip
we were
of
so close. Yeah, it's like everything you imagined. Like we had designed this like really cool eco-friendly furniture system that we thought was cool. It was crazy. The three business partners we're going to show at ICFF, the International Contemporary Furniture Fair, which is like one of the largest furniture fairs in the United States. It happens in New York here. We're all working to the last hours to get all of our, someone's in charge of the connectors, someone's in charge of the wood, someone's in charge of the pads, like the cushions that go on the furniture. And so we all show up at this trade show that we invest in thousands of dollars in to be in, and we've never seen our furniture put together before.
Right.
So we literally all show up and since it's based off since the furniture is made to be taken apart and put together and replaced and be able to replace interchange parts, we all show up, we assemble our furniture right before the show, and we had this great show, and then we met Starbucks, which was really so exciting and risky because I guarantee you there's no other furniture company there that had never seen their furniture before.
Yeah.
Until they assembled it at the show.
Sure, they're all established furniture people.
Yeah.
Which is an industry I know nothing about. And I'm getting a little bit of a taste of it right now. And so you got Starbucks out of that show, but ultimately that never materialized. So where did
we go? Right?
Yeah.
So one of the partners, I can't forget how we got the next client, but someone reached out to us hey, we really love what you're doing with the furniture, and
I got that.
We really love what you're doing with the eco furniture, or love the design principles. Can you make us some furniture that is reclaimed and eco-friendly and
who's
like
asking
beautiful.
you?
So these 3 Italian guys that are opening up an eco hair salon in Soho,
There you go.
and they're great. They really hit it off with one of our partners, and they're like, well, we can make you this furniture, but we can also make you, all these other things like lights and I don't know, desks, like a desk for the reception desk. Sorry, that's what I was going for. So we end up taking over the whole job. We get all the furniture. We do the full gut like interior renovation.
There you go.
And so we turn it. Our company, long story short, turns into an interior design and general contracting business. So we do.
But that's a bad way of putting it. I think you're underselling yourself because yes, your interior design. Well, interior design is definitely
architectural design.
Yes.
Architectural interior design. So it's not like interior decorating. It's like, all right, we're taking these walls out. We're putting these windows in. We're putting these holes in the floor. We're putting it on this plumbing. It's like.
And for those like people who don't know, like you look at a really well-designed space, you don't understand why it feels so good. Well, it's because they invested probably $100,000 to $200,000 on a build-out, which is really par for the course. In fact, below par for a New York City location. You can build out a restaurant, for $500,000 to $1 million here in New York City easily. So you have this hairdressing client. Did you get other clients?
Yeah, they're hairdressing would be they work on like high-end photo shoots for like their hair.
Here, one more, guys.
I don't know. There's like a certain term that it's like their hair stylists or I want to give respect to what they're doing.
Or maybe they just call them hair artists, or or that could be even beneath them, like just if they're.
So their hair studio, whatever.
We're exactly. Making hair studio.
We're making their hair studio, and the project goes great. They end up winning an award for the space, and then we started to get more. We got other clients.
Exactly.
So we did, like what we were doing is we're doing custom everything for these spaces, and then either building them out or helping build them out. And so we then moved on to coffee shops and restaurants and private residences. And we're always doing something like a little weird or creative in the space.
You love it. So you're getting to develop a style, but at the same time you're getting paid for it.
Yeah. Or working towards the client style plus like our take on it.
And you're getting a ton of experience.
Oh, definitely. I mean, like New York City is like one of the hardest places, from my experience, to build anything. Or from at least what I hear, it's like there's so much tape involved.
Yes. So, how long did you, as a collective, are you still doing that today?
Not so much. Like every once in a while, someone will ask me for like. Some sort of transformer furniture or some sort of like modular furniture that's not what I haven't already developed. And so I usually take like interesting jobs like that.
Now, I did read on your resume, like you mentioned Jay-Z.
Oh.
So what's the story behind that?
Something for Jay-Z and
what'd you do for Jay-Z? Can you say?
Yeah. Like so he was launching this book called Decoded. And so every page of that book was hidden or somewhere in New York or maybe even internationally, and the followers would have to find these pages, take photographs with them, and then like there's like this whole game. So all what I was doing was like I was creating like certain pages. Certain like custom pages for that book, so like I had to put one page on like I had to like figure out how to like cover the wheel of a bicycle, and then put a page on that so people could like ride it around. Let's just go around.
Yeah. Okay, so you made a book project for Jay-Z.
Yeah. So like I created all these different products. Like you created like. A punching bag with like all his images and text on it.
Okay.
So this company I'm talking about with the interior design stuff is the transition. So like Jay-Z has nothing to do with it. That's like maybe during or before. I mean, I've always been like taking on like random freelance projects, but so with my partners that we did like the general contracting, interior design, we had all these various projects, and then one partner moved to a different country and was married and has a beautiful family now, and the other partner also got married and moved upstate and has a beautiful family upstate. And
so the forces of entropy sort of pulled you apart.
Yeah, exactly. So like we all separated, and Modos was this prototype that we started, that Andrew and I were showing. And so we got this. We're showing at Brooklyn Designs, another furniture fair, and it was called Snugget back then. So we were snugging panels together. The name didn't test well.
But you had already a little bit of experience in modular furniture from that Dovetail project you'd done years before.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the very beginning project, and we did all this. The whole thing was filled up with like interior design and general contracting, and we had also continued to like think about the scope of this like modular furniture that we wanted to create, but we didn't know what it looked like. So we had some really brilliant interns, and the two of us came up with a solution. And from that point,
you had this small taste of traction with a big company.
Right.
How did you proceed from there?
So I think like kind of the longer story short, like we had Modos, we continued to show it at different places, and we didn't get any big bites.
Yeah.
And we hadn't mass produced it. So after we finished like one of these interior projects, because West Elm and these interior projects were happening at the same time. So,
Of course, very common for entrepreneurs to burn the candle at both ends. On the consulting side, on the services side, to fund the product. It's very common.
Yeah, exactly. So once we finished the interiors, my business partner decided to like, hey, I can't make these commutes anymore. Like that's all I can contribute. So I was kind of left like, all right, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, well, I have this Snugget clip. Let's rebrand it as Modos.
There you go. Good move. I think Modos is a lot better than Snugget.
I think my business partner Andrew came up with that name.
Yeah.
I put together a Kickstarter campaign.
Now, how many years ago did you kickstart?
So we fulfilled the Kickstarter in December of 2016.
And when
it became mass produced, like it was available to the public like January 2017.
But so when you say fulfilled, do you mean like did the Kickstarter campaign end in 2016?
No. So that's like I fell into the standard Kickstarter, like I fell into this one. Sorry, let's speak for myself. So the Kickstarter campaign started in 2014, or ended I think in July 2014. So what happened was we had the Taiwan manufacturer from West Elm still.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's just me doing this, so like I want to be able to I need to make as many efficiencies as possible. I don't know how big this is going to be. Like, I don't know if I can afford a container's worth of connectors.
Yeah.
So I want to see if I can manufacture this thing in the United States. I can meet these manufacturers. I can speak English with them easily. I can be on the same time zone.
Right. And guess what? Black & Decker just moved their manufacturing facility from China back to Texas.
Wow.
So this whole mentality that you've got to manufacture in China. Oh, I'm a helpless American. I can't do anything for myself. All my Wall Street buddies are manufacturing in China. All my Kickstarter buddies are manufacturing in China. I've got to manufacture in China just so they'll give me some. No, it's nonsense. You can manufacture right here in the U.S. Sorry, got on a little.
Thanks.
Got on a little rant.
So but it did cost me, like not talking financially, but like the manufacturer I chose, they had problems and they kept failing.
Of course.
They kept failing.
Now this is the Chinese manufacturer.
No, this is the American manufacturer.
Yeah.
Because the Americans actually invented. I think they originated aluminum. Like my parts are extruded aluminum.
So we're talking upstate New York, Olean, New York. I see that smile means I'm onto something.
No, it's not. It's not. It didn't happen in New York.
Okay.
It wasn't a New York company. Ultimately, they failed 4 times. So that was like over a year, and then we had to get our money back.
Right.
So that took another 6 months.
Your money back from the manufacturer.
For the manufacturer.
Okay. So here's the thing that I think too many people.
Kickstarter money.
Yeah. Here's the thing I think too many Kickstarter people fall into.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I literally have an idea right now. This is actual reality. All the feedback I'm getting from these guys is, yeah, you got to have the product like really well advanced, and I'm just mocking all these people. Right. You got to have the product really well advanced, before you put it on Kickstarter, so like that the Chinese people don't copy you and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, nonsense. You know why? I've had somebody on this show who's had a product that's sold in Apple Store. It's a light. It's called Lume Cube.
Okay.
And he started Lume Cube on Kickstarter. Mm-hmm. And it took almost 2 years to deliver. So he is the first person to tell you that the whole point of doing a Kickstarter is you're not supposed to be prepared. You're not supposed to be. The whole point is, give us this money so that we can build a company and we don't know how to do this. That's the whole point. If you're like super mega professional and you go on Kickstarter and you deliver the next week, like that, great, but that's not.
You're right. I think you're touching on why Kickstarters, what their original mission was or their mission is, as opposed to like being super polished and like turning Kickstarter into a store. Right?
Literally now, Canon camera, does a campaign on Kickstarter.
Really?
Canon has the ability to actually deliver in a week or a month.
That's. I can't believe that Canon's on there. Yeah, you're right. It's maybe they're losing focus of like Kickstarter's losing focus of why they created their platform.
I sort of agree with you because they're chasing. You see how big their office is. I think. Yeah. But they're chasing, and here I am, cutting into my own tail, right? Talking bad about Kickstarter, but I agree with you. They're probably chasing money as opposed to focusing on their mission. And you argue, and I sort of agree that their mission is to help people who don't know what they're doing manifest their dreams.
I don't know about the know what they're doing, but I think like they have a responsibility to all their backers to like try to figure that out before they take the money. So like taking someone's money is you want to be extremely responsible with that.
Yeah.
So like for me, the reason mine took so long is because I already had a manufacturer. I thought I had it all like mostly figured out.
Yeah.
But I changed my mind. I wanted to try doing.
My idea is like, just literally say on Kickstarter, this idea will be delivered in 3 years. And literally explain in your Kickstarter video. Most Kickstarter projects fail to deliver. There's literally hundreds of millions of dollars of stories where people collect, huge sums of money and then fail to deliver because they don't understand logistics and they don't understand, the ideation and prototyping process and the manufacturing process. Mm-hmm. Just say like, it'll take 3 years and then you're covered.
Right. Yeah. It's managing expectations.
Exactly. Like
it's being responsible and managing expectations. So,
but it's all okay. Like
there's so many times like when my manufacturer failed, and I was having trouble getting my money back. I was like, all right, well that's it, you know.
Yeah.
So I had to get a different job while I waited for all of this mess to clear, you know.
Yes.
So I had to, so I could continue to sustain, like this dream of launching this product and like mass producing a product and like, you know, taking this idea and like actually making it real.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because like what's coming up for me now is like, oh, I remember this like personality survey I took in like high school. It's like, you'll suffer from the big idea syndrome.
So we probably have the same personality.
Yeah.
Like I'm an ENTP.
I don't even know what I am, but
I can tell just by how spaced out we are and how easily we both get sucked into rabbit holes. We probably have very similar personality types.
yeah, probably. So I just wanted, like, that was like always something that like hurt me. And it's like, well, I gotta like at least prove that wrong.
Yeah.
So I feel good that I've accomplished beating some survey that happened in high school.
So if you are an ENTP type, like me,
Okay.
like
Say if I was,
Tom
but I don't know
Hanks,
what that is. But
Tom
yeah.
Hanks is one. You know, there's a lot of very successful people, and I don't want to get too deep into that. But so you proved the personality test wrong. But back to the more important point. I think that everyone thinks manufacturing is like a turnkey, right? You go to some
Right.
Chinese company, you give them $50,000. The Chinese company turns it around, you know, in 3 months, and boom, project over, and that's it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, obviously that's not true at all. So it's like, you know, maybe like times 10 that.
Yeah.
It's like all the iterations and like the tooling design and like draft angles and like just endless number of like refinements and like, oh, you know, the batteries gets too hot in this spot. Like if you're doing like hardware.
Or the center of gravity on this is not right. Like
Yeah,
this
sure.
thing.
Like, I could design the crap out of this handle. You know, like it's like it's horrible. I hope your wrist is okay.
No, it's not, but I'm surviving. I'm at the stage of the interview where I'm at the two-hand phase.
Two-hand stage, yeah. You should start with that. And then you
No, it's weird. It makes walking a little weird though.
Okay.
Posture-wise. So, you had manufacturing problems, but I think those are. I would want to rebrand that as manufacturing lessons.
Yeah, sure. Like every problem is a lesson, right? And like it's I love learning, but it's endless learning when you're an entrepreneur, and particularly one that like you don't have like you don't have partners. So that's like the hardest part.
Yeah.
But you know, so we finally fulfill the Kickstarter and the website and the product's out there. People are using it, testing it, and it's actually been well received ever since. And so
There you go.
I mean, like finally, like I feel in some ways like crossed the finish line. Of course, now I have new manufacturing problems, but
Watch out for the poop.
yeah,
Happens every show.
happens to everyone.
Of course, you have new problems, but here's the thing. You said it. You crossed the finish line. I want to also rebrand that or reframe it as you crossed the starting line. Like,
yeah, totally, yeah.
like most people think that when you finish, it takes so much energy. And the parallel I have is the MP3 app. I mean, you know,
Yeah, sure.
2009 took so much energy to just like get the app out there.
Right.
And a lot of people think that that's like the end. No, it's just the start.
Yeah, because you have to grow it now. Now
Yeah.
I've like finally I got this like precious little seed.
Yes.
Now what? Now how do I nurture it and give it the right soil and how to get the light and the water?
Yes, to use
So
a
it's
metaphor,
Uh-huh.
which I think is a great metaphor. You know, your business is absolutely like a plant or child.
Mm-hmm.
So let's flip the script a little bit.
Yeah.
Can you bring out the Modos?
Sure. By yourself is slow.
Yeah.
Like there's like so many hats to wear.
Exactly.
It takes so much time and like you need like, and then like I don't have like, and if I have to hire people, then I'm spending money that shortens my timeline, but hopefully I can grow faster because of it.
Yes.
So that's like the balance I struggle with now.
Which is a good problem to have.
So Modos is a modular furniture system, and the Modos connectors are extruded aluminum that are cut into 1-inch sections.
Can you hold the camera?
Sure.
My hands are dead. So can you talk and explain it?
Right. So this is one connector of 3. So
oh yeah, and where's your wood block? Okay, so let me just do a 101. So here I am explaining the Modos, which is Matt's product. So it's this connector here, and this is a 3/4 inch
panel, yeah.
So you'll take a panel, you put it on, right, and then you see it's on, and then so he. Oh yeah, it's super solid, watch. And he had a laptop stand at his desk, so he had one going this way, and then he had one going this way. So you see it has 3 axes right here. So really you could build anything with this. This is like a Lego piece, fundamental building block. These are adult Legos.
Yeah. The London Financial Times says Legos for the design savvy adult.
Boom. So we're on the same.
Nailed it.
We're on.
Yeah, we're work for them. You're good.
a little dry for my. I need something spicier, more exciting. So
with the system you can literally build anything. So if you think about furniture, if we redefine furniture, so furniture is just horizontal panels at particular heights.
Okay.
A table's this tall, a chair's this tall. So it's really about how do we put objects on things to defy gravity at a particular height. So with this system we can make pretty much anything at any particular height. Yeah. So we typically just make desks and space dividers and shelves.
What's the biggest thing that's ever been made out of a Modos?
A TV stand.
I'm thinking I want bigger, on this. Has anything this scale ever been made out of it, or?
Well, the TV stand was 12 feet tall, 12 feet wide.
12 feet tall? That's taller than this thing.
Yeah, and we've done. One time I rented a tiny little space at a design fair, literally the smallest one I could. Yeah. And I would go in there, and the ceilings were 14 feet tall. And I literally built the shelf around the columns and the lighting around the ceiling. So I built it all the way up to the ceiling, which was awesome because I could see it all the way across, but my neighbors hated it.
So, still very cool.
So yeah, we can endlessly large. You can just keep adding and adding, like a brick, It's well, how big can a building get?
What's the
bricks?
most popular things that people like to build out of the Modos? What's the most common, thing that they go to?
So it works 2 different ways. So some people buy the panels and the connectors ready to go. Yeah. And sometimes people just buy connectors.
And then they use their own wood.
Yeah, they use their own wood and they make whatever they want.
Or plastic.
Yeah, if you got 3/4 inch plastic, you can.
So where can I go to buy these connectors? Are you only doing it direct to consumer?
Yeah, it's direct to consumer.
So you're avoiding all Amazon and middlemen.
For now, yeah.
What do you feel that Amazon's tricky because they pretty much? I understand why, because they pretty much once you put your product on their system, they'll make a sort of build versus buy decision, and they'll see the data of how many units you're selling, and I'm sure you're aware of this. Yeah. How they pretty much will rip off anything that they see, they're
right, they make the Amazon Basics.
Yeah. So what am I wearing that's Amazon Basics? My pants right here are Amazon Basics. Okay. So I have a Uniqlo top Amazon Basics pants, and a year ago, you wouldn't have heard of Amazon Basics making pants, and now they make pants.
I had no idea.
And now Amazon Basics is competing with Uniqlo and with Gap and with everyone. Right. And they have the scale to, but there's interesting things about that. As an entrepreneur, it may scare you, right? Which, competitions is scary. But at the same time, I think Amazon basically is getting into shoes. But here's the thing. All of what you said, the iteration, and you called it a kernel, a seed. Look how simple your product is. It's like...
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't easy to make it that simple.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at. Like, it looks simple. Amazon thinks it's simple.
Right.
They think they can rip it off, but fundamentally, all they would be doing is copying you.
Right. I mean, we have a lot. I mean, there's a lot of copycats.
Yeah.
Time I shoe. There's.
What are we doing?
I'm tying my shoe.
Oh. I thought you were gonna do some acrobatics.
No, I was really interested in that tiny little crane back there, but. Should we just do laps on this thing?
I am. I'm tired, man.
Okay, fair. Do you want me to hold it?
No, that I got.
Yeah. So part of it's like, it's price point.
It's easy to copy, but ultimately it doesn't matter because they can't copy you.
Why?
Because you have all this experience, you have all the design knowledge, you know what needs to be done. You are so much deeper into this than anybody who would copy. Like,
right.
You have a different mission.
Right.
Fundamentally, a copycat just wants to make a quick buck.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, that's probably it's a good barrier to entry. It's really about like what we're doing is we're trying to create an instantaneous a system for creating custom furniture, like high quality custom furniture at a reasonable price.
Can I make a chair out of it?
Yeah, you could.
Is that, or would you say don't make a chair?
I would say I can't recommend that you make a chair.
Okay.
Because chairs are active pieces.
Yeah.
So this was actually initially designed around the chair. So this is actually like an ergonomic angle. This is the ergonomic angle of a chair back.
Okay.
That could be the leg. This is the platform, and this would be like another piece would go down here for the front of the leg.
Yeah.
So that we actually considered the chair, but it doesn't. It's not. I don't like recommending it because people like move chairs around, and it's like the system is like. The system is designed to be taken apart and moved and reconfigured every time you move.
Yeah.
So you don't have to keep buying furniture over and over. You don't have to create the waste. You don't have to waste the time or the money. So like the system pays itself back.
Well, more than that, you can reconfigure to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you can have a wide shelf that becomes tall, or you can add on to it if you get more stuff.
Okay, so better for tables, nightstands, bookshelves.
Yeah, TV stands.
The TV stand has a lot of weight. It's just the active movement is what you don't want.
Yeah, it's the weight. The weight has no problem. Like we could climb on the shelf.
Yeah.
As it is.
Wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to recommend it, but you could do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been trying to max out the weight, and I haven't been able to. So we shot a commercial one time, and we had the entire cast and crew dancing on.
Yeah, I saw it. That was a fancy commercial. That was smooth.
So not the one on our website, but we have this other one that's like the after shot dance party, which maybe you could find like on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'll show it to you. But it's kind of impressive how many people, how much weight it's taking. So it's the reason we chose the hexagon. So the system creates hexagonal geometries.
Okay.
So the hexagon is inherently strong. So it's this, we're using like I always like to think of things like are you familiar with biomimetics? So like mimicking biology.
Like a beehive has hex.
Exactly, right? So these hexagons are one of the strongest shapes in nature. So
and organic chemistry, is hexes.
Yeah. It's not just like a pretty shape, So we designed it around what around the hexagon because we think that was like the best way to make a really strong system. And it was like, so the system actually ends up locking itself together and putting itself under compression. So
it's super strong.
Right. So for example, like if this is like a living hinge, like it's a manufacturing terminology, you see it in plastics. So it's a point where it pivots. So as you put this panel in, it forces this part to pivot a little bit and makes this area more narrow. So then if I put a panel in here, it makes these tines push back on the panel that it's of its neighbor. So they all start like pushing on each other, and then as the hexagon snaps together, it's really strong.
So
locks it all together.
I don't think fantastic. I don't think you answered the question of what's the most common object that people...
So the most common object is a bookshelf.
Yeah.
There's a shelf, like people put like, oh, I want books or records or whatever. And so it's like, oh, I have, X linear feet of things I need to store. Or I need to fit my stereo that's this big into the shelf. So we work really well with like certain space constraints, either overall lengths and heights and widths, or just like individual cells needing to be a certain size to hold a certain object or number of objects.
Yeah. Well, I'm always reconfiguring my space, and especially in New York City where space is at a premium.
Totally.
I'm always trying to find a little nook or cranny, or like, I'm like,
so true.
We keep accumulating stuff.
Right.
And we don't want to get rid of the stuff. And the stuff is useful. Like, there's a certain amount of stuff in my apartment. And I need all that stuff. Be like, I have to build like shelves into my closet, like 9 feet tall up there.
Right.
So that I can like put 2 bags that I use like twice a year that I either have to go get a storage space or just like,
you really need like a pulley and a rope and a hook.
Yeah. So I that's why I think the product is so interesting.
Thanks.
Because of the configurability.
And like what's really cool too is now that we have a new manufacturer that does the panels.
In the US or?
In the US, yeah. Just like locally.
Nice.
And they can print directly onto the panel, so we can do any pattern design.
So was that done by them?
This could be done by them.
Okay.
So it's like.
So yeah, I think the patterns and designs could really, give it a little.
So the overall shape and the patterns and the connectors could be anodized or powder coated any color. So we can really make this thing look like just about anything. And
like something like this should be in IKEA, but if I'm going to use the word "should" more, like something like this should get popular enough that you don't even need to go to IKEA.
Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, hopefully it picks it picks up enough where it's like. Hopefully, I've designed the system around people and the environment and manufacturing. So on the manufacturing side, it's about we're just making rectangle sheets and extruding these parts and cutting them in 1-inch sections. So we're minimizing the waste and maximizing the production capabilities.
But you're also creating this like potential is what I see. This like potential for beautiful. You're at the perfect intersection of beauty, aesthetic, and function. Your form meets function. So I think that's a great place to play in.
Yeah, we've cut away all the waste, like all the I like to think about the system being really honest. It's like it's exactly what you see. There's no we're not putting lipstick on anything. It's panels and connectors, and it's really based on your or my creativity and like what we can make.
Exactly, and I think there's a lot of creativity to tap into. So, I got a good sense now of the story of Modos. It's a lot more nuanced than I thought it would be.
Okay.
I had a suspicion that you've been at this for a while.
Uh-huh.
But now I see that it's just been evolving, and here we are today. So, unless you think there's anything I've missed, I have one final question for you. Is there anything I've missed?
No, I think you got the major points of the story.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
What's your final question?
So this is the most important question, I think.
Okay.
And I ask it to everyone who comes on my show. It's
Sure.
this signature startup hunter question. So how do you think you have grown, Matt, as an entrepreneur? In what ways?
I think I have a much better sense of reality.
Talk about that. To explain that.
Well, before I saw opportunities and I had ideas and like how to solve those opportunities, which is like a small part of the equation. But now I really get like what it takes to make something, to market something, to sell something, to fulfill something, how to grow that, how to get, what if raising money, managing other people's expectations, your own expectations, your families, customers, manufacturers. So I think I really have like a better sense of like the reality of what it takes to be an entrepreneur in this day and age. It's not as simplified as like you might think it is, just because it's probably one of the greatest juggling acts you could possibly have. And like, I think if you have more partners, that's great. I think you should totally have more partners and enough financial and enough like mental bandwidth to really focus on your company. So like, I've done it from being grassroots, and I've done it by myself, and at least for developing Modos, and plus all sorts of wonderful skilled contractors and interns, freelancers along the way. But the biggest thing is giving yourself the time to really focus on the most important problems to progress you forward. So, and that's what I try to do every day. And then I also take on these other freelance jobs to keep that New York hustle going.
Well, if you could sell sheep,
okay,
and if you could sell bookmarks, then I think you can continue making Modos as awesome as it is.
Yeah,
and I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's.
Thank you so much for coming on, Matt.
Sure thing. Thank you.
Yeah,
it's a pleasure.
And that's a wrap.
All right.